Hello everyone, my name is Diana. Before we get into my story, please like and subscribe. I was born in a tiny town in America, in an old house where my mom had grown up. Our cleaning lady once told me that Mom used to be the most beautiful woman around, and when she walked by, everyone stopped to look at her. She'd left for Hollywood, but she returned when she was pregnant with me. But the version of Mom I knew was not very glamorous. She hardly left the house and spent all day watching soap operas. She was obsessed and was always trying to copy the actress. This woman is the worst actress ever. I can do better. Yeah, that role would have been mine if I didn't give up my career. Mom didn't say it exactly, but I always felt like I had gotten in the way of her acting dreams and a different life. Sometimes I kind of felt bad for her, and I tried not to bother her so much. She came in wearing jewelry and some flowy silk gown that was too tight. Did she think she was at the Oscars? She catwalked down the hallway and flirted with all my male teachers. It was so embarrassing. Why did you have to act that way, Mom? Couldn't you just be normal? What? I'm just being myself. I'm an actress. Looking and being a certain way is all part of it. Mom, I'm just a kid. I don't care about your acting and all that. I just want you to be a normal mom. Over time, Mom and I grew more distant, and by the time I was 12, we were living like housemates that barely spoke to each other. One time in 8th grade, I'd asked to borrow some of her clothes for a talent show, but I didn't bother inviting her. To my surprise, though, Mom walked in halfway into the show, and she looked totally normal, just like all the other parents. But soon after, a girl was performing a one-man show, and suddenly, I saw Mom running up to the stage and grabbing the mic from her. Honey, that was so embarrassing. I just couldn't watch anymore. You have to play each character as if you are the character. Look deep into your soul. Come on now, try it again. And oh, maybe you can do one character with a British accent. She started speaking in a terrible British accent. The girl looked as confused as the audience, and I was beyond embarrassed. Hey, isn't that Diana's wacky mom? I ran away to hide in the bathroom. I couldn't even do my act anymore. Once the show was over and everyone left, I came out to the parking lot to find Mom there. Hey, I was waiting for you. Why did you come here? Was it to humiliate me? What? No, I came to support you. Then why couldn't you just sit quietly instead of jumping onto the stage and snatching the mic from a kid? I was doing her a favor, and she'll remember me forever for those tips. Come on, let's go home. I'm gonna walk home. In fact, I'm gonna walk all the way to China if that's what it takes to get away from you. Diana, watch out! I suddenly felt something hit me with force and I went flying. I saw a blinding white light and then I passed out. I woke up to Mom's worried face and realized I was in the hospital. Mom told me that I'd been hit by a car. I'd broken my leg and I had to use a cane now. For how long? A few months, at least. We can't be sure when it'll be fully healed, and you might end up with a small limp. I'm so sorry, baby. This is all my fault. That day, I cried so much I thought my eyes were gonna fall out. I tried to stay mad at Mom, but I couldn't. She wasn't great, but I knew she didn't wish for this. When we got home, Mom tried so hard to be the perfect caregiver, but I knew she was struggling. It just didn't come naturally to her, but she never stopped apologizing. Baby, this is all my fault. In times like this, I wish I was more like Carol. Carol was my mother's sister who lived in New York. When I was younger, I always wished she was my mom. She had 2 kids, Theo and Becky, and the holidays I spent with my cousins were my favorite memories. Auntie Carol is quite amazing. And it would be nice to see Theo and Becky. Do you think spending some time with them would make you feel better? Yes, yes, yes! If that's what you want, love. And soon enough, I was heading for New York. But my first disappointment came at the airport when I saw Aunt Carol wasn't even there to pick me up. When she didn't show up after a while, I called her. It turned out she'd forgotten. I am so sorry, honey. There was a little situation at the kids' school. She still looked like the amazing aunt I remembered, but something about her also felt different. And when we got to her house, it was really quiet. As Aunt took my luggage to my room, I wandered into the kitchen to find Theo making a sandwich. Hey, Theo, it's so good to see you. Theo just looked at me blankly, then walked off without a word. What the heck? Didn't he remember me? Just then, someone almost knocked me out with a bear hug. Oh my gosh, you're finally here. I've been waiting all day. Gosh, I missed you. How are you? Well, I know you're a little sad, but I got you now. Thank God Becky was the same chatterbox I knew. We talked and laughed for hours. Hey, is Theo okay? He was so weird to me earlier. Becky's face instantly fell and she looked like she was gonna cry. Yeah, that's him these days. Mom thinks it's just a puberty phase, but it's more than that. He's changed so much, I hardly know him anymore. But at least I have you now. In the coming days, I got to see the new Theo myself. He never spoke to anyone and spent all his time in his room playing video games. One day, Aunt had to go in to make him clean his room, but Theo started yelling like a crazy person. "Leave my room right now! Get out!" One day, Aunt was having a garage sale and Becky and I were helping her out when suddenly a police car pulled up with Theo in it. "Is this your son? He was caught stealing cigarettes and magazines at the mall." All our neighbors were staring at the spectacle, and Aunt's face was red with embarrassment. The policeman let Theo go because he was a first-time offender, but that day, Aunt snapped. "Why have you decided to humiliate me? I work my butt off for you to have everything, and you go around stealing? And what, you're smoking now? That's none of your business. And if my allowance was enough, I wouldn't have to go around stealing, would I? So maybe you're not working hard enough." Hey, stop that. You're being rude. You know your mom works so hard. Who asked you? This is a family matter, and just because your mom dumped you here doesn't mean you get to butt into everything. I was so sick of his stupid attitude. I hit him with my cane and we got into a fight and Aunt had to separate us. That's enough. Theo, apologize right now. From that day, Theo and I were dead to each other. I didn't care anyway, as long as I had Becky with me. Aunt Carol registered me at my cousin's school soon, which Theo looked very unhappy about since we were in the same grade. On our first day, Theo cornered me right after Aunt dropped us off. "Listen, just stay away from me. Mind your own business, and as far as anyone knows, we are not related. Understood?" It was my first time in school since the accident, and I was nervous, but the students here were really nice. They helped me up the stairs and even helped me find my class. I had a feeling I was gonna love it here. But when the bell rang for recess, I noticed the strangest thing ever. A group of boys ordered Theo to pick up their books and put them in their lockers. And he did, without a word, like he was their servant. During lunch, I noticed him with the same boys again. This time, they made him fetch their lunch, and while he was balancing all the trays, someone bumped into him and he fell down, and those jerks all laughed at him. Hey, what's the deal with that boy? Oh, that poor boy is Theo, and that blonde guy in their group is Billy, and the rest are his minions. They've been hurting Theo forever. One time, Theo reported Billy and got him into detention, and since then, it's gotten so much worse. Like they're really trying to punish him. Sometimes I feel bad about not helping him, but we're all scared of those jerks. My heart broke into a million pieces. Theo was being bullied by monsters. And why hadn't Becky said anything? You must know what Theo is going through. Why haven't you told Aunt all this time? Diana, Mom works for the company Billy's dad owns, and you don't know how far Billy can go to make someone miserable. He's a spoiled brat, and if he asks his dad, Mom would lose her job in a second. Theo has forced me to stay quiet and says he can put up with it. He says things will be worse if he doesn't. I tried to understand her point of view, but I just couldn't. This had to stop. That night, I went to Theo's room. "Listen, I'm really sorry for the way Billy is treating you, and he needs to be punished." "Didn't I ask you to mind your own business? And it's not how it looks. I do stuff for those guys and get paid for it." "You get paid to run around like their errand boy? That's humiliating. Let me help you." "No, you'll make it worse. It's just for a few more months and then we'll graduate. I'm handling it just fine." "No, you're not. You are hurting and everyone close to you is hurting too. Can't you see it?" "Leave me alone." But I just couldn't. So the next day, I made videos every time I saw Billy bully him, then sent them to the principal's email address. The next day, I felt a million butterflies when I found out that Billy had just been called in by the principal and suspended for 2 weeks. Not long enough, but a little justice. But when I got home, Theo was furious. "I told you to leave it alone. He's gonna come back and have my head." "No, he won't. The principal knows now." "You are such a dumb, nosy idiot. You think the principal will actually take serious action against someone like Billy? Thanks for ruining my life." For the entire 2 weeks, he was so paranoid and looking over his shoulder. And the day Billy was supposed to be back, I noticed tears in Theo's eyes on her way to school. I silently prayed that he'd leave Theo alone and that I hadn't made things worse. But during lunch that day, I noticed a crowd gathered outside. I got closer and saw Theo surrounded by Billy and his boys. OMG, they were gonna hurt him. Hey, leave him alone. Stop it. But no one heard me. Then suddenly, I felt a huge force rush through my legs, and I charged forward and hit Billy in the knees with my cane. He fell to the ground and stared at me furiously. Theo had grabbed Billy by the collar and punched him in the face. No one messes with my cousin. Luckily, someone had called the principal to the scene, and everyone said that Billy tried to hurt me. The principal told him he was expelled. You can't do that. Do you know who my father is? Oh yes, I know, son. And I'm sure he wouldn't want word getting out that his son goes around beating kids with disabilities. That wouldn't be good for his reputation. You hurt a girl with a cane. I'll talk to your father right now. Billy was indeed expelled, and his minions were suspended for the rest of the term. Billy's father also reached out to Aunt Carol to apologize and promised that his son would not be bothering her family again. After it was all over, Aunt Carol turned to Theo in tears. I should have known. I'm such a bad mom. No, you're not, Mom. You're the best, and I'm sorry for all the hurt I've caused you. And then he pulled me into their hug, too. Thank you for everything. I really owe you one. I'm just happy to have you back, cousin. From that day, things changed. Theo started to get better and becoming his old self, and my leg had started recovering too. I could now walk for short distances without my cane, and I didn't have a limp. One day, we were having dinner when someone knocked on the door. It was Mom, and she looked different. For the first time, she looked happy. She told us she'd gotten an opportunity to be in a big movie in LA, but she'd turned it down to take me home. I'm so happy you're getting better. I want to be there for you during your recovery. I'm learning slowly, but I do want to be the best mom for you, really. Mom, I really appreciate that, but you have to take that role. You'd be crazy to turn it down. What? It's your dream, and I'm happy here. Go to LA, become the biggest movie star, then come back to me. I know you love me, and I love you too. But sometimes, the best way to show love to someone is by loving yourself. Hey, I'm Emma. Please like and subscribe. I was born to Indian parents in New Jersey, but we moved to New York when I was a kid. I wouldn't say my family was rich, but we did get by without trouble. My dad was an accountant, and my mom was a makeup artist. I loved watching Mom put on makeup, but I never understood why people wanted to put makeup on themselves. Mom, why do you put makeup on people? Because they want to look pretty, honey. Pretty? I thought it was all like face painting to be a clown. Like, why would having your cheeks and nose so red make someone look pretty? When you grow up and try it on, you're gonna love it. My life seemed perfect. I got good grades, had tons of friends at school, and was loved by teachers. But when I turned 14, everything turned upside down. I had just returned from India after spending an amazing summer vacation with Grandma, and it was time for me to start high school. I was pretty excited for it, but this excitement didn't last long because high school wasn't exactly like I'd imagined. I thought I would be fine as long as I didn't make eye contact, but things didn't go my way. In the first week of school, I was fixing my favorite lucky bracelet on my wrist when I walked into someone's back and heard a scream right after. Oh no, it was Becca, our school's self-proclaimed queen bee. She was one of those, I hate drama, but I start drama kind of people. Ugh! My phone! Look what you did, you freak! I am so sorry. I didn't see you. Oh, save it. You didn't see me? Are you blind? That was a brand new iPhone. Now you'll get me a new one. Got it? But why would I? Last time I checked, phones weren't allowed inside school. So I guess it's your fault you brought it in the first place. But hey, we can both go talk to the principal if you want to. I can explain how I bumped into you, and you can explain why you have a phone. So what's it gonna be, Rebecca? Don't you dare act smart with me. You messed with the wrong girl. Heard that one before. Bye-bye. Just as I walked away, Becca pushed me. I wasn't gonna let the witch get away with it, so I turned and slapped Becca straight across the face. The next thing I knew, we got into a nasty fight, and in the process, Becca broke my bracelet. It was at that moment that I felt my heart stop like I swallowed a frog. I wanted to scream, cry, and throw up at the same time. I fell to the ground and started pulling my hair. No. This can't be happening. This is my favorite bracelet. Grandma made it for me. This is the last gift she gave me. Really? I did you a favor. Ugh, it was so ugly. I could feel everyone's eyes glued to me, but I couldn't care less or stop. Then suddenly, everything went black. I had woken up in the nurse's room and found out that I had a panic attack. My parents were informed about what happened, and they were so worried about me. I took a week off, and I heard that Becca was suspended for a week for starting the fight. During this time, I felt so anxious. But one day when I saw Mom working, I noticed that the step-by-step process of applying makeup looked soothing. I observed Mom, and then I started applying minimal makeup whenever I was anxious. I just felt the whole process helped my mind to slow down and focus on something. I told you would love putting on makeup. You look wonderful. Who knew you were this talented? Learned from the best. A few days later, Becca and I walked into school on the same day. She was out for revenge for her suspension. She filled my locker with wigs and whatnot. I didn't want to react because I knew that would start a fight. I just wanted to get away from all of this, so I told my parents how I needed to change schools, but they couldn't because of some financial issues. So the only solution I could think of for my problem was to get suspended. My first attempt to get suspended was during class. I had put a fart cushion under the teacher's chair so that every time he sat down, it would sound like he farted. But some guy took the credit for it to look cool for pulling off a prank like that. He was suspended instead. Bummer. I had even played loud metal music through the intercom during class and made sure I got caught. But it didn't work. All I got was detention. I wasn't even suspended. As if my prayers had been answered, during summer vacation, I got the best news ever. We were moving back to New Jersey. Dad had gotten an amazing job that paid well. Talk about great timing. Mom and Dad had also told me that they already enrolled me at the new school. Since I didn't have any friends in the new city, I usually stayed home and made Insta videos of my makeup. Soon, I gained tons of followers and people loved the looks I created. One evening, Mom made me go out because I was in my room all the time. I decided to go for a movie by myself. But as I entered the cinema hall, I saw the one person I didn't want to cross paths with, Becca. Just as the lights were dimming, I noticed her and her friend sitting 3 rows behind me. I immediately crouched down and crawled to my seat, and in doing so, I dropped the entire bucket of popcorn on someone. A boy. Oh, I am so sorry.
Hey, are you all right? Is something wrong? Someone bothering you?
Sort of.
Oh, okay. I got you. Don't worry.
Then I felt him put his cap on my head. I watched the movie peacefully thanks to the stranger who introduced himself as Damien. We exchanged numbers and I found out that we go to the same school. He told me he would wait for me at the school gates on the first day, and I agreed. We were the last ones to leave the cinema hall. I had to be sure Becca was gone. A couple of days later, I started school, and at the gate, I saw Damien waiting for me. He showed me around the school, and as we walked through the halls, I felt all eyes on me, and it made me feel very conscious. Remember, Emma, keep your head down and stay out of trouble.
You know, someone was assigned to show you around the school, actually. My friend Natalie. But I'm so glad she got caught up with some other work and asked me to help her out.
Well, it was nice to have Damien show me around, 'cause the guy sure was handsome. Just as we reached our class, a girl entered and looked so excited. Guys, I have amazing news. Wait for it. The principal has agreed to let students write and direct a play all by themselves. Yay! Oh, who do we have here? Wait, you must be Emma. Sorry I didn't meet you earlier. That's fine. So, drama club. Sounds cool. Yeah, thanks to me. If it were for this nerd, we would have nothing except for the math club.
Oh my God, Natalie. You're the greatest, aren't you? Drama clubs. Well, they are boring.
Oh no, they're not. Even though they seemed like rivals, it turned out that they were buddies. In fact, they had known each other since they were babies because of their families. Natalie and I started becoming good friends. We would talk about everything under the sun. And one day I noticed that she kept scratching her palms and the skin was peeling off. So I immediately took her hand and applied my hand cream on her palms. And then I went on a rant about how she should take care of herself or it would start to hurt. One afternoon when I went to the cafeteria, I saw her looking at my Instagram page. You're extremely talented, you know. Can you… All of a sudden I looked up and saw Natalie's face going pale. Natalie, are you okay? She just pointed at her throat and I figured she was choking. I ran to her side and helped her immediately. Emma, oh my God, you saved my life. Thank you so much. Oh no, I did what I had to. Are you feeling better? I owe you one. My lifesaver. When Damien returned from his cousin's place a week later, he was pretty surprised to hear about the choking incident.
Wow, protecting my friend when I'm not around? Thanks a lot, Emma.
She's my friend too. Now, gotta go. I have to go to this comic book store, Nook, and then home.
No way. You go to Nook? We love that place. No, we adore that place. Don't we, Natalie?
It's just fine, Damien. Damien and I continued to visit Nook every day after school. Natalie would join us sometimes. It was fun. One evening, when it was just Damien and I could feel him looking at me. Is your comic book that boring that you're looking everywhere but the book?
No, it's just, I wanted to tell you something.
Tell me what?
I like you, Emma.
What?
I like you. Actually, I kinda liked you that time when you were hiding next to me at the movies. It was the first for me.
Really? You know what? I think I have liked you too, since that day. He smiled wide and pulled me in for a kiss. The next day, I told Natalie everything and she was so happy for me. That evening, while we were hanging out at Nook, Natalie announced she was selected to write and direct the play at school and that it was about something that meant a lot to her. OMG, I am so happy for you, Nat. I'm excited too, but also a little nervous. You'll promise to be there, right?
Of course. We wouldn't miss it for the world.
I was pretty excited for the play, and I even posted about it on my Insta to get as many people to show up for her directorial debut. On the day of the play, the school auditorium was packed. Natalie came on stage and thanked everyone for showing up and said that the play was based on true events and means a lot to her. The play showed the main character getting amazing grades, but it wasn't enough for her parents. The stress she went through, and how that caused her to have a problem where she scratched her palms to the point it would hurt her. As the play continued, I saw a scene all too familiar. The main character snaps one day and starts screaming and pulling on her hair in a fit of rage. As she cries, I froze and felt goosebumps all over my body. That was me, the fight with Becca. I started shaking like a leaf in my seat and felt my cheeks get wet. Great, I was crying too. I tried to calm my nerves, but nothing was helping.
Emma, are you all right?
I couldn't talk. I just shook out of fear. I was having a full-blown panic attack. I stood up abruptly, and all of a sudden, everything went into slow motion as I tripped and fell while trying to get out of the hall. I felt so embarrassed and knew everyone was looking at me. I couldn't help it and ended up vomiting. OMG, what is happening? I needed to get away from the place and ran out of the auditorium while Damien followed. He made sure I reached home safely and then kept visiting me every day since I just couldn't show the world my face after that auditorium incident. But Damien kept insisting I go to school again. Damien, it's easier said than done. You have no idea what happened to me at my previous school.
Then tell me. I want to know what's bothering you.
And I did. I poured my heart to Damien as he hugged me and told me that everything was going to be all right. Still, I had just one question on my mind. What if Natalie knew about that incident? She couldn't. Could she? So I gathered all my courage and went to school. I needed to know who the play was about. But just as Natalie saw me, she came running to me and hugged me. I am so sorry. I didn't know you had anxiety. How are you feeling now? I think I should be the one apologizing. I ruined your play. I myself didn't think what happened in the play would trigger my anxiety. Why didn't you tell me about it sooner? I was embarrassed about it. It makes me look weak, and I don't want to be seen that way. Do you know that the play was actually about me and my life? What? Yeah, and you want to know how it ends? It ends with me getting better and finally stopping the violent scratching on my arms. And you know how that was possible? Because of you. What do you mean, because of me? You remember when you applied the hand cream and took care of my bruised palm? From that day on, I noticed how being around you and Damien helped me out so much. You always encouraged everything I did and were rays of sunshine, literally. You have no idea how much your kindness and care towards me helped me, and I will always be grateful to you for it." I was shocked and had tears in my eyes. That night, I played Natalie's words on loop in my head, and I knew what I had to do. I sat down and started a live video on Instagram. "Hi everyone, how are you doing? This video is gonna be a little different. This time, I will be removing my makeup instead of putting it on. And I'm doing this to thank someone who hurt me. Not physically though, but in doing so, you made me all the more stronger." I talked about my insecurities and my panic attacks. I told the world how I was not embarrassed about it and how I wanted to learn to better myself. In the end, I just want to say, remember, you are amazing no matter what. Bye. Little did I know that my video would go viral. People began sharing their stories as well and tagged me in their videos. I was proud of myself that I didn't let my weakness convince me that I didn't have strength. I walked into school the next day, hand in hand with Damien and Natalie next to me, with my head held high.